Hey there, folks. Recon Trooper here, back with another podcast with none other than Franchise Fanatic.
Hey guys, what's going on? Franchise Fanatic here. Got another podcast for you. This one's going to be a big one. We got Sonic.
Yeah, and a little bit of Knuckles because he's part of Sonic. And obviously, before all that stuff happens, we just want to thank Recon Trooper for suggesting this topic in Franchise's last podcast. It's a real nice
wherever
thing.
he is.
Yeah, and also we want to obviously, hope you all had a good Christmas, and I'll be posting this before New Year's, but if obviously Franchise will be long after the New Year's, so Happy New Year to everybody as well. And
yeah, I'll be posting this by Christmas 2025, actually.
Yeah, when he's an official teacher, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
oh God. Yeah.
But yeah, before we get started, drop a like if you enjoy the video, if you even see it, whatever, and subscribe. Or if you're or if you're subscribed to me, unsubscribe and resubscribe so that you can get notifications again. Hopefully the restrictions
YouTube gods.
restrictions for kids channel or kids content on my channel doesn't affect you anymore after that, because it is not kids content. It's not for kids.
We're dropping some F words.
Well, yeah. Fun, freaking, and fantastic.
Fudge.
Yeah. I like fudge. I got a can of Quality Street over there somewhere.
Wow.
But
perfect.
Yeah, so starting with Sonic 1, well, tell me your experience of rewatching it when you did.
Yeah, so, I mean, you guys can all check out my reviews. I reviewed all of the 3 movies in the Knuckles show, but going back to Sonic 1, I mean, without repeating what I said in the review, it's a genuinely interesting movie because, when this thing first got announced in that trailer with, what was it, Gangsta's Paradise, I mean, that thing, Sonic, look, I know the internet really liked to chat on Sonic and be like, oh, kill it with fire! They really wanted to, hate on it. Look, I rewatched the trailer a few nights ago, and it looks bad, okay? I'm not going to say it looks fine. It looks like trash. But I think the internet took it a little bit too far with essentially bullying the studio. And, I mean, hey, they listened, right? They fixed it. And the movie that followed, I enjoy it. It's not as... If you're a diehard Sonic fan, I played the games, and I know Sonic. But... Going back
I was playing one today, actually, and I got really fed up after the second level. Because there's, I don't know, the Sonic Adventure 2, if you've played that one, the combat is really dumb on that thing. And not to mention in the first level with Sonic, I'd played it before, but I haven't played it in a while since. And... I either forgot or maybe the rules are different with Sonic's levels, but I didn't know that you start the level all over again when you die. And I was
That's fun.
falling off a cliff trying to jump onto those moving platforms, and finally went around them. Because you could do that, but there was a thing of rings above the platforms, and it was just really annoying. And then, of course, the boss battle after that is just annoying because you're supposed to do the double jump attack, or homing attack as it's called, and you're supposed to hit him in the cockpit. It's easy to say that when you're not the one doing it, you stupid Chow. And, he's shooting rockets at me just as I'm trying to do it to him, and you just have to touch him, and he almost kills you, and it's really annoying. So what
you're describing is essentially the Sonic experience. A lot of the games are not that great. and some of them are really great. It's pretty. This is
Yeah.
not Mario where like every game is a banger, right? Like some of them, and I know some Sonic purists are gonna want to kill me, but I played a lot of them over the years. Some of them are pretty bad. Some of them are pretty good, and we're lucky that this trilogy and the Knuckles show, like these are all solid, like movies and a solid show. You know, like this is not a case where, oh, Sonic 1's really bad, you know. But I think looking back on that first movie, you know, it's not super in depth in terms of, oh, we got Amy and we got whatever and we got Big the Cat and we got whoever else is in the franchise.
Yeah.
It's just Sonic and Tom and all that, and I think it's better for that because, you know, as I said in my reviews, you're able to kind of build with each iteration, you know, with the world building.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, me too. And to be honest, I never really was into Sonic, like the franchise, like the movie franchise, even back when it was announced. So I honestly didn't know about the whole bullying thing until I think you brought it up, maybe it was.
Okay.
So I didn't know. I saw the design, but that was just in thumbnails when I think at the time I was just obsessed with waiting for Lego Star Wars to come out.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, I was just obsessed with waiting for that and stuff and other stuff. I think also watching it was 2019 when the first trailer dropped, so or 2018.
I think so, yeah. I think it was late 2019.
Okay, so also Avengers Endgame came out, so I was busy watching that, and Godzilla King of the Monsters, if that also came out that year, and I just didn't really care about Sonic, so I didn't know about any of that stuff with the first movie, but you know,
which is fair.
To be honest, I don't entirely mind the old design, having looked at a few things about it. You know, it kind of would be interesting if they kind of went away from, because I don't know if there's actually lore that has this, but if there isn't, they could maybe create a new sort of bunch of lore called like the Clone Saga or something, and use the ugly Sonic as kind of like a Bizarro Sonic.
Yeah, well, they did that in what was it, the Chip and Dale Rescue Ranger movie? I didn't see it. I want to, but there's a scene in that Disney Chip and Dale film where you see Sonic and it's the old design and they call it Ugly Sonic. So even Disney was poking fun at it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be interesting. Then they could bring the ugly Sonic back and just use him as like a Bizarro version of Sonic. You know?
Sonic 4.
Yeah, and you know, it could be like some crazy person trying to clone Sonic and he ends up looking kind of like Snoke compared to Palpatine.
Yeah, right.
But I
think I'd be down for that. I'd watch that.
You know, and so that way people can finally see the good Sonic prevail over the ugly one at long last. You know,
right?
Or
all the people
whatever.
wanting to. Yeah, everyone wanting to kill ugly Sonic they get their wish.
Yep. Although they're not the ones killing him, but whatever. But
yeah. In their twisted minds, they're doing it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that I like. I wouldn't say I get super emotional, but I like the opening sequence of the first one, where not counting the part where it seems like it's like the end, showing the end already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You didn't mention that in your review. What did you think of that opening bit where you already see Robotnik trying to kill Sonic, and you don't even see how they met yet?
Yeah, I think thrusting the audience into that works because it's just right off the bat, boom, action. And it's also a neat storytelling technique because Sonic references it toward the end when they're actually in that event.
Yeah,
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, and not to mention it kind of tricks if somebody just came in at like they weren't there for the commercials and the trailers and stuff, and then they came in just as the movie was starting. They would think they missed it, only for Sonic to pause while he's running, and then you hear his voice, and then You know?
Wait, how late were we? Yeah.
But yeah, the opening with the owls though, or owls, Longclaw, I'll just say, because we only ever see Longclaw in this franchise, and it's kind of, I wouldn't say I get emotional, but it's definitely you feel sorry. You kind of feel bad for Sonic when he goes through the portal, and then she says goodbye, Sonic, and then he tries to get back, and you know, like you gotta imagine what he's going through when you know he couldn't get to her in time. You know,
right? Well, that and I think
she's
that
gone.
It sets up a,
you know,
yeah, it sets up a good, I guess, arc for Sonic where he has to kind of. You know, he starts the movie very alone, and then obviously at the end he's not. So I like that, but yeah, it's. I don't know if Longclaw is like part of the games. I would assume.
I don't know.
I mean, there's a whole Archie comic of Sonic that I haven't read, so maybe she's in that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't even know there were owls in this universe until the movie. Because you know. You play games like Sonic Advance 2, and it's the old style. You just run from the beginning of a level, all doing loop-de-loops, and when you jump, you turn into a ball, and sometimes, for some reason, you can kill enemies. Other times, it, for whatever reason, doesn't kill them, even though it should, and whatever. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good, and, you know, there's the... when I know you say you hate Rachel in the movie, and you know it's kind of understandable because they never give a reason why she hates Tom. You know, he's no good, and what makes you say that so much?
Yeah,
you know, did he?
I don't know. I mean, he seems all right, I guess.
Did he trip on a tablecloth and spill vodka all over you at one point, or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know. Yeah, but I am glad that Rachel becomes more
interesting,
more of a like, well, just like a normal person. I don't want to kill in Sonic 2 and 3, which is good. You know, well, 3. Yeah. I'm doing quotation marks. You can't see it, but.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was. I like the part where you know, like her daughter obviously has more of a heart than she does in the thing. Mm-hmm. You know, she's saying.
And she gives him the shoes, right?
Yeah. She's like, JoJo, untie mommy, and she's just keeps walking like, yeah.
She knows what's up.
But yeah, I think that would be an interesting spin-off to have Tails and JoJo. You know. Yeah.
No, that would be cool. I'd see that.
Yeah. Maybe like, you know, somebody's Robotnik's been after Sonic's speed. You know, we'll talk about this in several minutes from now. The buyer's after Knuckles' strength. Maybe somebody could be after Tails, you know, smarts.
I could see that. That'd be cool.
You know, and Tails, I don't know, create some sort of steel trap that for the person in the end or something. It could be kind of like Tony Stark and Justin Hammer situation. You know, somebody that's dumber than Tails wants his knowledge. You know,
right? Yeah, I can see that. Now, speaking of Robotnik, what are your thoughts on him in this movie? Because he starts out kind of lanky, not bald. He doesn't look like Robotnik or Eggman in the games, and then he kind of transforms into that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on his performance? Obviously, Jim Carrey's good, but what are your overall thoughts on him in this film?
Well, it's definitely, you know, funny when things, you know, like he talks to that army guy, Dum Dum Dugan, and you know, that's the character he plays in Marvel. If you guys don't know. Because his real name is something else I don't remember, but yeah, I thought he was, you know, he starts off as this kind of, I don't know, he's like not putting up with the soldiers, you know, attitude, even though he's not letting him say anything. So You know, he's kind of he's more kind of like a show off, like seeing it. You know, see, I can do things with my robots that you can't seem to with your brain. You know, or
Right.
and then he gets showed up by Sonic and Tom when he gets punched in the face, and then
Yeah. As
know.
one does. I think I like that though, right? Because like Robotnik has that one story with like he's like, oh, I was bullied as a kid in school, and I used my brain, and you know he clearly doesn't care about humans at this point. He just cares about the machines. And it's interesting, you know, it's definitely a unique take on the character, because I remember seeing the trailer, and everyone complained not only about Ugly Sonic in the trailer, but they also complained that it was just a very generic-looking trailer. They're like, oh, standard military guy. Oh, Robotnik has robots. This is boring. We've seen this before. But when you actually watch the movie, like the execution is good, right?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, like I said, I never saw the trailer, so I didn't know about that either. You know, I knew Jim Carrey was in it because he was, you know, I at least saw the things on the shelf when it came out, and I saw his face obviously is above Sonic on the cover, and smiling like a villainous madman, and you know, but. Yeah, I didn't mind him in this thing. I also like the part where, you know, like he thinks he's killed Sonic from that little ball that explodes, and then Stone says, you know, did we get him? Oh no, there they are. They are real survivors, those two. And you watch his face, and he's like, shut up, or you know,
yeah.
And then he's like, can we have a moment? Pin yourself to the wall. You know, he's just like this authoritative, you know, whack job.
Well, yeah, he's able to be intimidating without physically being intimidating, you know. And I guess he's really not, because you take away the robots, he's just some weird dude. But I like that.
Well, he still sort of can handle himself, and he also does grab Stone by the jaw after he recovers from getting punched, but...
That's true. That's true. Well, Stone is just, he's a loser anyway, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely. I definitely like the part when Sonic pushes the two off the edge. He's like, I know exactly what to do. Shove them off the edge.
Oh, the building. Yeah.
I always like that part because
yeah,
it's like you made friends, so now you just throw them off. But obviously, he knew what he was doing. Because, you know, you see that...
We hope.
You know. But, yeah,
we hope.
Yeah, it was... You know, it was definitely a good movie. And when people, you know, complain about things like that, either they, you know, they're not really complaining... in a logical sense, or they're just, you know, they have no taste whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, that Ugly Sonic is bad. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that, but I am glad.
Well, it was just the first.
Right?
It was just the first time, you know. They wanted him to. They wanted. It's like if you made Detective Pikachu, you know, and all the Pokemon in that. If they actually tried to use real animal designs, like an actual mouse that was colored to look like Pikachu, you know, like
right.
Actually, if you look on Google and you search realistic Pokemon, there's a bunch of images that they show what they would look like, and one is actually like Charizard.
Gross.
But he actually looks just like a lizard with wings.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't know. I want to sleep tonight, so maybe I'll do that in the morning.
Yeah. And Blastoise doesn't have the silver cannons on his shoulder. They're kind of like spouts that come out of his shell.
Okay.
But anyway, But yeah, so you know, they obviously were just trying to go for a realistic look, but still, you know, sort of maintain the silhouette, I guess.
Yeah.
But, and then, yeah.
Silhouette was fine. Then he stepped out of the shadows, and we were like, ugh, But,
yeah.
I mean, hey, look, they listen, right? And they changed it, and it looks great, so that's good.
And so, and then, yeah, the Tails scene, they I'm glad that they kept it exactly as it was, like shot for shot, and they just tweaked a few of the CGI things, like the device he's holding in the scene is different than it is in number 2, which I guess we could start talking about that one now. And he's obviously got a backpack on, but like everything else, like the way he turns his head and everything, even when he jumps off the cliff, he can. Before he starts flying, you even hear the same exact,
voice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's too bad they didn't do that.
I appreciated
with the shadow shot in Sonic 3, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm glad you saw something positive about the wedding part.
Yeah, I know. That really made a few people happy with that. But I think, Sonic 2 is, in terms of the lore, it's a much better movie because there's obviously a lot more going on with the Emeralds and Knuckles and whatnot, and Tails. But yeah, I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, this wedding is like, it's funny, and I'm entertained, but like, what's the friggin' point? So upon rewatching, I literally, like, I must have forgotten like 80% of this movie. Because when I'm rewatching it for my review, I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense now. I use my brain like an adult.
Well, also, like, it raises the stakes when you see Sonic get captured, It's like, while Robotnik and Knuckles are going after this Emerald scot-free, Sonic and Tails doesn't even know about it, but Sonic gets captured and, and then Tom gets arrested for assaulting a gun officer and...
Yeah.
But something I will say, though, that they should have maybe not changed the shots or anything, but just changed the lines, too, is that moment that you see the sisters do their handshake and, you see Rachel, she's screaming Randall's name. And then when Maddie gets cornered, all of a sudden she's there again. It's like, I thought she was going off after her fiance, and she just suddenly happens to show up again. But like if it's not so, it wouldn't be so bad if maybe they just changed the lines. Like maybe she said, "I'll watch your back over here," and then go after my fiance when you get inside, and then once she saves her, says something like, "There. Now go get him, sis," or
Yeah, something. Yeah, I didn't notice that actually. I'll have to, when I do my rewatch and re-review, I'll figure that out.
Yeah, your re-review 2 more years from now.
Right, when Sonic 4 comes out.
Yeah. No, that would be 27.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, it's still less than 3 years actually, even though the year, if you just look at it by the years, it seems like 3, but it's actually 2 and probably a third years.
Well, yeah, because we're almost in 2025 already. But...
Yeah, and spring is only a few months away, so...
That's crazy.
Of course,
but
what spring means,
Yeah, depends on the calendar. Now, what are your thoughts on Knuckles in this film? Because I know Knuckles in a lot of the shows and the games, he's not quite like what Idris Elba does. I mean, you probably don't have a lot of experience with the games, but, I mean, did you like it?
Well, Knuckles' voice is definitely different in Sonic Adventure 2, because he sounds more like... kind of like your normal voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has more of your normal voice and less of a... Where did you get that?
Yeah.
But I thought it was good, he's his kind of entrance is certainly always kind of cool, especially the menacing music that plays as he's coming through the portal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that.
before you see that he's just this smaller, he's a slightly taller than Sonic, but still smaller than the Robotnik character.
And those white gloves, those white gloves really intimidate.
Yeah, especially when they're right in your face and but
hitting your face.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Knuckles is pretty decent, he's not he's kind of like I don't know.
Like a tough guy.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's not really he has very little understanding of how Earth works. And like he doesn't understand text messaging. Just he knows.
Yeah, but I don't either. So it's whatever.
So you say ...
Yeah.
Or when I type, you see Recon Trooper ... Recon Trooper ...
For like an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's definitely also kind of tragic. I mean, obviously his people were killed by. Like I think in the Knuckles show, in the one episode we'll get to, it kind of is exaggerated a bit, but because we know that they're, especially when you hear him talk, on I think it was the mountain, he says the last of the Owl Warriors, so there's clearly, it was just Longclaw that was left, and he never watched his dad die, unlike in the Knuckles show that they show in that, as I call the musical episode.
Right.
He never actually... They obviously exaggerated some of that just to give Wade his confidence boost. But, it's still tragic, how he basically loses everything the same day that Sonic does, They're both young.
Yeah.
And, their parent figures, whatever, are basically, that's the last time they see them.
But it makes a good arc, right? Because we're able to see what Sonic went through is also kind of what Knuckles went through, just on a different side.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
And, but yeah.
It's like Batman v Superman, but they're colorful creatures.
Yeah, and, it's definitely... I definitely like the fight, even though it's, brief. The fight in the labyrinth.
Oh yeah, that is so cool. That scene with like the traps and all that. It looks really good too. We got to talk really quick about the CGI.
Yeah.
The CGI in these movies, I mean, they're friggin' phenomenal. Like they're like better than Marvel movies half the time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, sometimes it's hard to tell if their lips are syncing with their words at times, because I noticed that when they say some sort of word with an F in it, you don't see their teeth and their bottom lip always doing the thing. When you say something like, "Hey, franchise," or or "get off," or but
Fudge.
yeah, but yeah, I think it's pretty good. Otherwise, I mean, obviously their CGI is even more so in the later ones, but
right, yeah,
because Knuckles in the later his front braids are kind of curved in that thing, and his eyes I think have changed too, but they're not. It's definitely worth. It was definitely it's definitely worth watching it just for the CGI.
Yeah. No, I mean it looks genuinely like I know these are big budget movies, but it feels like a big budget movie,
Like if you're
it's really good.
if you're a deaf person and you really don't like the subtitles because they show up slower than the person actually says the words, then you just want to watch the movie kind of like a visual representation, then all you have to look at is the CGI to be awed, be in awe, so to speak.
Yeah. Even though you won't know what the hell's going on, you'll be like, wow, that's a lot of colors.
Yeah.
Look at all that color.
A lot of color, a lot of flashing and bashing and kablashing.
There you go, perfect. It's like a 1960s Batman comic.
Yeah, the end battle is certainly good too. I mean, I notice when they fight all those robots from the giant mech that none of them actually are firing at the three characters. Like, you just see them swarming them, but you don't really see them firing. You just see them getting destroyed. That's all.
Are they attacking the civilians? Is that what's going on?
No, in the second movie, when the three are finally like facing Robotnik on the ground, and you see all those sort of black versions of Robotnik's robots all coming out of the big one, and you see all their weapons armed and everything, but you don't ever see them really shooting or anything. They're just kind of flying around like a fruit fly swarm.
Yeah. Well, they're getting ready to shoot. They got to warm up first,
But yeah, it was definitely a cool thing, and I don't know. What did you think of Supersonic for the first time?
That was awesome. Yeah, I knew about Supersonic. I knew what goes into that, and I didn't think they were going to do that. I remember the third act being the wedding, and that was it. I knew there was some kind of robot fight, but upon this rewatch, it took me by surprise, because I'm like, oh, they're still going. It's not the end of the movie, and they had the big mech fight, and obviously Supersonic is freaking amazing. He just kind of stops the robot with his hand.
Yeah,
I think it looks great, and the stakes are great. I love the truck flip with Tom and Maddie, and they're kind of all huddled together. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah. When he makes the chili dog fall on Knuckles' face too.
Yeah. That's a highlight.
He's like, "You're supposed to catch it, Knuckles."
Yeah. Oh, and it hits his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and the shadow design in that post-credit scene was actually Supersonic recolored.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because they didn't obviously have Shadow yet, like fully designed. So, but
okay,
they wanted.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, they wanted to tease him, but they obviously didn't have a model for him yet. So they had to sort of recolor a bit of Supersonic in there, but it's fine. I mean,
yeah, I didn't notice. I just found that out right now.
Yeah. Well, I found that out a while ago. I don't remember when, but it was kind of interesting. And then looking at the picture they used, or the shot, I should say, they used of Supersonic to sort of make it, was all of a sudden, that's what they used, It was
definitely, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And and what'd you think of the baseball game at the end when Knuckles gets
Sonic,
home
ever
run?
Since the first movie, he liked baseball, and he liked to, be a part of it, and it was cool. It was a good little reference to the first film, and it's a good callback, and it's cool that Knuckles and Tails can kind of join in on that, which is cool. And that leads to, Knuckles, he doesn't have the emerald anymore. Like, he does, but his journey's complete.
Yeah.
So what does he do now? And that, of course, leads us to the Knuckles show, which I've heard a lot of bad things about. I've heard conflicting things, and finally I watched it, and I mean, you can see my review, but I thought it was good. I mean, it's not my best show of the year or anything, but it's more competent than what I thought it was, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you heard me talk about it a bunch of times, so
I heard you loved it, and then I heard basically everyone else hated it. So I'm like,
I mean, if anything, just trust me if you have to.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was like, all right, let's do it. And, there were a few few spots that were a bit wonky, but other, overall, I I thought it was good because it gave Knuckles a chance to do something other than protect that emerald.
Yeah.
So it gave him an MO of what to do, but it also gave Wade, Wade in the first movie, and from what he's in the second, he's basically just Patrick Star as a cop, right? He's the token stupid policeman trope. That's all he is. So finally, with the Knuckles show, they were able to give Wade a character in the same vein that Tom and Maddie got in those other movies. So I always say this, that the Sonic movies are really good at making me care about the furry animals, but also about the humans. And I think they I think they did a good job with that.
Yeah, and what'd you think of the weird episodes, as I call them? Because I mean, they're good. I'm not denying that whatsoever. They're good. But it's kind of weird that you go from 2 episodes back to back of these goons who actually, you know what, they remind me of Team Rocket. I don't know if they did you.
Yeah, they do.
Without the loud meowth following them. Without loud meowth.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird going from these 2 episodes where they're after Knuckles and then suddenly goes to this religious Jewish Shabbat dinner and then a musical episode, and then we're finally back to the Team Rocket duo.
Yeah. Yeah, because those were the 2 I was kind of nervous about, because you mentioned you were like, have fun with religion and singing, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? So finally, episode 3 with the Sabbat or whatever. I'm not a Jew, but
No, I'm not either.
I respect. Well, yeah, you don't say. Obviously I respect the religion and whatnot, but it at first I was like, what is this doing in a Sonic film? Because not to say I don't care, but when I'm watching a show called Knuckles, I don't want to feel like I'm going to Sunday school. So finally, I feel like some people took it out of context, right? Because most of it is really, really great.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
People don't like Wanda very much, but I didn't mind her.
Right.
I mean, sure, she's a bit of a jerk in the dinner episode anyway, but she seems to get better afterwards. She's actually rooting for her brother. She's kind of smiling at the end of the musical one when he shows up with, the, tough guy on the outside, wimp on the inside guy that I also mentioned, the bounty hunter guy. And, she kind of is smiling at him like she's finally seeing something in her brother, instead of a victim to bully, apparently.
Pretty much. Yeah, there's some growth there. I like the fact that Knuckles is kind of experiencing a family that isn't Tom and Maddie, and he's experiencing a custom that he's not familiar with. So, to him, Wade's bowling tournament is this big, grandiose adventure task, mission, and learning about this religion thing.
His personal battleground.
Right. It's not... The religion thing isn't as preachy as what I thought it would be. It made sense because Knuckles was able to...
It was just odd that it was in there, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will admit,
if they just went to his mom's house, if they just went to his mom's house, had dinner, and then this thing between Wade and his sister happened without all the Jewish mumbo-jumbo, it wouldn't have made much of a difference, really. It would have kind of felt the same, just without the Shabbat candles. It would just be like, oh, his mom likes to cook a lot,
Yeah. Yeah, and I will admit, though, that while the dinner scene did kind of feel a bit dragged out, I think that the fight scene in the end, I didn't expect this. I almost spat my cereal out of my mouth because, the choreography in that friggin' kitchen fight scene did not need to go so hard. That was cool shit. The fact that they have to protect the 2 candles, and they're all flipping and flopping around, and the mom's got a pan or whatever. I mean, it was cool. I really liked that.
You watch Knuckles, and he's just kind of taunting the bounty hunter. He's like, "Come on, I'm right here. Whoa, no, I'm right here." Whoa.
Yeah.
He's just jumping around trying. Is that all you can do? Come on, you suck at aiming your baseball bat. Right. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good. The musical episode, I mean, it's fun. It's well made.
Yeah.
I get why they did it because one part of Knuckles' journey with Wade is to not always be there. So I get that from a storytelling perspective. I'm not a fan of musicals. I'll watch Disney and the Muppets and Joker too. But when it comes to it's not my preferred genre. So I mean, it's fine. It's not bad.
Yeah. I mean,
I get why they did it.
You watch it a few more times, you kind of get used to it. Like the first time I saw it, yeah, it's funny, especially when he decides to cut out in that moment and thinks that the solution is punching an electric cage to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, please do not touch bars. Yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously, do not touch bars.
Right.
And then but yeah, it certainly is, kind of funny that that one guy, was his best friend. You see just how big of a wimp he is at the end when, they're driving at each other and they're screaming, and you see even his face. He's like, "Wah!" And all of a sudden he's like, "Whoop! What am I doing?" And he gets his locks cut off.
Yeah. I thought it was fine. And then, of course, the final part with I didn't expect this either, but Wade's dad coming back into the picture, and the whole thing this whole show feels, I know it's got an echidna and crazy action, but it feels like some of it's like a family drama, because some of this shit is it's deep. The mom is genuinely talking to her son like, your dad's effing weird, bro, stop. And a lot of the writing is very smart and very, this whole Sonic movie franchise, it never dumbs anything down.
Yeah.
And I don't mean action and mild swearing, but I just the thematic elements of it are mature, right? I'm 26, and there were no babies and children in my room when I watched this, and I was like, oh, this is a really, well-produced show, and I like that aspect of the whole family thing.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's supposed to add to, what the mom's been saying ever since she said it the first time, that good-for-nothing schmuck, and you see, Wade defending him, saying he's not a schmuck, he's my dad, and then at the end you see why
he's a schmuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what's been going on this whole, why she says that about him, that he's all about only I matter here, and his pride is threatened when Wade is doing as good as he is, if not better, at points.
Right.
He doesn't.
But I
want
enjoyed
him,
that. I enjoyed that bowling scene. It really was.
Yeah.
The stakes were high. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and also seeing that little girl be on Wade's team.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because she wasn't in the beginning. I like that fact too.
Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't insult you if you weren't such a freaking loser. Man, your dad's a real turd bucket, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I mean, the show's fun. It's got a few little hiccups here or there, but I think that it gives Knuckles something to do, and it gives Wade an actual character that by the end of the show, I was like, oh, he's still dumb, but I care about Wade as a character.
Yeah.
I didn't care about him in Sonic 1 and 2.
And,
he was just a dumb cop.
People complaining that it's all about Wade and not Knuckles, that's like saying Sonic 1 is about Tom and not Sonic.
Yeah.
And by the way, did you see the parallels between Sonic 1 and Knuckles? Did you see any parallels?
I picked up on a few. Yeah, I think they planned it though. They had to have planned it that way.
Yeah. Well, you see, it's kind of, especially in the end when he's fighting the buyer, and just like when Sonic is unconscious, and it's not until Tom says something that really hits him that he wakes up, and it's just like with Knuckles, not with Wade, And not to mention the real seeing the flames of disaster is pretty cool, even if it's brief.
Oh yeah. That was sick. Yeah,
and
I like that.
hearing
And I
the
was like,
electric
is the
guitar
buyer...
going.
Yeah. I'm like, is the buyer gonna show up in Sonic 3? Oh, and I'm like, oh no, he's not.
No.
I'm not gonna say what happened in case you haven't seen. He's not.
Well,
in the
we're
movie.
almost at the end, so spoilers isn't that bad.
Yeah. In fact,
spoiler alert: the buyer's the first death we actually see.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Well, actually, I don't know. Do you think those two Team Rocket goons are dead?
I think they're just in another dimension, honestly.
Yeah, could
they probably
be.
died in that dimension.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the rings are portals in some of the games.
Which ones?
Well, I think in at least the older ones, the rings, like right at the end, it's you jump through a ring portal to get to the next zone.
Oh, okay.
And in Sonic Adventure 2, actually, when I finished Sonic's first level before the boss thing, there was a big ring that I had to jump into, so...
I played the original Sonic, but I don't remember that. I'll have to... Oh. That's funny.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, and so... On to Sonic 3 now, so I guess either stop watching or at least mute the... thing if you want to still watch my gameplay anyway, or our gameplay, whatever franchise is doing, because we're going to be talking Sonic 3 spoilers now, folks, so be warned, otherwise don't come crying to us that we spoiled it.
Yeah.
So,
hey, and if you haven't seen Sonic 3, go to your theater
and watch it. You know, like it's worth seeing again, even though I don't know if I'm going to or if I'm just going to wait until the Blu-ray comes out. Which, actually, before we get on to that, you said your Knuckles stuttered a few times.
Yeah, I think that's a thing that probably happens with all the discs.
Yeah, because I got one from a store. I got a Blu-ray from a store, I don't know, a week or two after the DVD version, and it started doing that. I thought it was the disc, but then I got one I ordered online, and it was doing it in the same spots, and plus some more, but, you know, it was kind of weird how that... So I think it's, for some reason, either the player can't read it very well, or Paramount can't make Paramount Plus shows on Blu-ray very well.
I think the cynical part of me thinks that the Paramount Plus DVD or Blu-ray version of Knuckles, I think they intentionally screwed it to get you to subscribe. But obviously, the practical side of me is just, yeah, they probably just suck at coding.
But
I mean, for me, it's not a big deal to me. It lasted like 1 second. And
yeah, but
it wasn't in...
It's annoying when it happens constantly, though, and especially when you're watching it smoothly, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's like when you're trying to play an online Call of Duty match, and then you have to sneeze in the middle of an intense gunfight, you know?
Yeah. I've been there, I tell you what.
But...
Or mom walks in front of the TV and I die.
Yeah. But, I mean, it doesn't make it unwatchable. It's just annoying, really. Especially, and it always happens when they're talking. It's not during a useless kind of I could care less about this shot part. It's always when they're talking.
I know, right? Every time.
But, yeah, so on to Sonic 3 now. So, what did you think of Shadow's escape?
Yeah, I think starting the movie with that scene. I mean, first of all, the cinematography in this movie is freaking amazing, because like the shot where he busts through the glass, slow motion, beats up all the guards. I think it's a really good opening, because it shows that, you know, Shadow isn't messing around, you know, from the get-go. It like that establishes his character and what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good opening. It gets you right in the action.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's a shame we didn't see the shot from Sonic 2, though, before that. Just with the more updated version, up-to-date version. Because, you know, they did, like, again, they did that with Tails. Why couldn't they have done that with Shadow? Just show his tube coming out of the ground, and then you see the crazy happen. But but yeah, it certainly was pretty interesting, and some of the things I noticed happened a lot sooner than I was hoping and expecting, because you don't expect the Tokyo bit until like, I don't know,
the third act.
Well, not in the third act, but more like kind of the end of the first act. But
Okay,
it was actually pretty soon.
Yeah. No, I mean this movie really gets you in the action, and it doesn't stop. You're going. Got to go fast.
Yeah, and also the part where I forget his name, Commander Walters. You don't
Olive Garden guy.
Yeah, you don't hear some of the lines from the trailer that he says in the thing. Like, he kind of just jumps straight to, Shadow's story began a lot like yours, Sonic. Like, he doesn't even say his name is Shadow and he was, part of this. And then he says his story began a lot like yours, Sonic. Like, it was kind of weird how he just kind of went straight to that after Sonic said, who is that guy?
I'm assuming they do that with trailers all the time. It's probably just another take or whatnot. But
I'm sure when I see it again, I'll just kind of be like, yeah, I'm used to it. Next.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are.
And then the Tokyo chase.
Oh yeah, the Tokyo chase is pretty dope.
Dope.
Yeah. Especially when the part from at the end of the first trailer happens and you only realize that, Sonic just got knocked out.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, you see it when
we also get
you always see something like that in a trailer and you think it's going to be a massive beatdown between them when you actually see it, but it ends up being just an explosion in the sky, and then Sonic is unconscious when he's cut back to him, and Shadow's untouched.
Right. Now, speaking of the Tokyo chases, one thing I want to ask: the Chow scene. Obviously, it's a reference to the games, but the bit in the trailer too, where Knuckles is like, "You look like a Pokemon." That. I'm a big, as you all know, I'm a big Star Wars guy, and there's a difference between canon and Legends, right? Canon is official, Legends is. It still matters, but it's basically fan fiction at the end of the day. So, with that, when something's canon, it's officially a part of the lore. It's official. So, I wanted to get your opinion. Do you think, does that mean, do you think they're setting up like a Smash Bros. Movie? Like, is the Detective Pikachu movie, that world, canon to Sonic, or is that just a joke? Because if it is, that's major.
It could be. I mean, Sonic is in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I think it's called.
And he's in Brawl as well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's Brawl, yeah. Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Sonic's in that, so is Pikachu. And so is Pokemon Trainer, I think, or is it Lucario?
And Mario.
Whatever, yeah. So, you never know. Maybe it could be. I mean, maybe they're working towards a massive Super Smash Brothers movie that somehow.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Although how that would work as a story, I mean, is that maybe that's the movie that people want now, is just 2 hours of action figures doing this,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can build up to that, which it seems like they're doing, I think that would work.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be cool. I don't know how you do Mario, because Mario's all animated, but they make it work.
Well,
I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe like there's universes where somebody looks one way in their own universe, and then when they enter another one, they look different. Maybe Mario would change to be an actual live action Chris Pratt or something.
Yeah. Oh God, that'd be wild.
It could be, and then.
Or what does Shadow say? That'd be a colorful bunch. Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
You're
colorful.
You're a crazy looking bunch.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Speaking of that, I don't mind Shadow's voice. I think Keanu Reeves does a really good job with him. I don't know. I mean, there is no such thing as the best actor in the world. I think if that was the case, everybody would be after him, and they would be patient enough to wait until it's their turn to have him.
Right.
Which would mean that we'd have a lot longer waiting times for movies, because they're waiting just to get that actor so they can start making their movie.
Yeah. That'd be weird. But yeah, no, I think Keanu Reeves is good. I mean, my only complaint is just that I think everyone can agree Keanu is not a great actor. He's not bad, but he's whatever. Like he sounds the same in everything he's in for the most part.
Well, do you want him to be? You want him to be kind of sound the same as he does in John Wick, but then sort of like when Mark Hamill does Joker's voice, have a different voice.
Yeah,
that's what you wanted.
Like, you watch him in John Wick, you watch him in Matrix, you watch him in this freaking SpongeBob movie, you watch him in this. It's all the hello, yeah. It's just like it's that kind of monotone, dry tone.
Well, it's because he was in John Wick that he was chosen, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Because he barely speaks in Chapter 4.
Because in apparently John Wick has this, he has that kind of darkness or whatever that was right for Shadow. So, and honestly, if you play Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow sounds just like Ben Schwartz trying to go deeper in his voice, but still sounding like Ben Schwartz. That's how he sounds in Sonic Adventure 2. He doesn't have the Keanu voice.
Deep. Yeah.
So.
Although I heard that there is a new Sonic game that like Shadow X Sonic Generations remastered that just dropped. They
made a DLC.
They added free DLC. Yeah.
Well, it's not free. It's about $8 Canadian anyway. But because my nephew,
I want to get that.
My nephew that I took to see the movie with on last Monday has the game, and I showed him the DLC on Wednesday when we went over there, and it was $8.
Okay.
But that's fine. I mean, they need a Lego Sonic game.
I know.
Like, get rid of all these dumb games. Make something that, not to make people mad. If you do get mad, then I guess that's your problem, not mine, because self-control is something we all need to learn. But, I think a Lego Sonic game would be good, because instead of just speeding around a level like you do in the typical game, you have to solve puzzles and stuff, and,
Right.
do the I don't know how Sonic would fight necessarily, but obviously they'd give him some attacks that work for his character. So, Yeah,
they already have the blueprint with Lego Dimensions, so.
Yeah. So it's not like if you're listening, TT Games, do it now.
Yeah. Oh, they're not listening. They hate me.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well. But
yeah. I don't know why, but they hate me.
Yeah. What'd you think of? Did you think Commander Walters? Do you think he was dead?
Well, obviously he dies, but I didn't know that they would kill him. I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was really dead. I thought maybe he was knocked out because, again, you see Tom disguised as him later. And director Rockwell isn't very surprised to see him up and about, with a cast on. It says, like, if he was really dead, she'd probably be like, how are you still alive? Or, I think she maybe assumed he was dead and then was like, oh, shoot, you're still alive. I don't know. That's my theory.
But if he is dead, it's unfortunate. I guess it makes sense. They kind of need to get rid of some characters violently to bring in new characters. And
I guess,
they don't. Obviously, Tom and Maddie, nobody nobody with a brain that knows that games are not movies. So if you want to just see Sonic and Knuckles the whole time, play the games, you know.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But
yeah.
in movies, you know, in the movies, everybody wants Tom and Maddie to come back, obviously. And if Jim Carrey is still up for it, you know, Robotnik as well, because once again, we don't actually see him die. He's not like the buyer who there's no way he could really have survived that unless his machine was a teleporter. But, you know.
Well, what about, I mean, we know Gerald's dead. He got bug zapped.
Yeah. But, you know, and, you know, it's possible that maybe Shadow teleported him away just in the nick of time before the thing exploded. So we don't know.
So I have some breaking news.
You know?
I have some breaking news on Commander Walters. I looked it up. They're saying the co-writer of Sonic 3 says he could not be dead. They sort of imply that he is dead, but he could just be really hurt really bad. So at this point he is dead, but they're saying, oh, there's a chance he could come back. He's just really jacked up. So who knows?
Yeah.
But he looks pretty dead to me.
It would make Commander Walters you're talking about. Olive Garden guy.
Yeah, the old guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it would make sense if he wasn't dead. I mean, we just see him laying there, but, you know, like, I mean, Tom didn't die either. Granted, it was a different situation. You know, he got hit by Shadow, and, you know, but it's, you know, if people like Olive Garden guy, even for his brief appearances, you know, bring him back by all means. You know, maybe he can give Director Rockwell a good talking to of how she treated Team Sonic. You know?
Right, exactly, yeah.
They're our allies, Agent, not our enemies. Unless you would like to mop the rest of the floor with your face, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, that'll show her. Yeah.
Yeah. I suck at acting, so lines I come up with suddenly don't make sense.
Oh. Yeah,
but whatever.
Yeah. No, I think overall this is probably the best made Sonic movie. It's by far my favorite. I love the first two, and I love the show. But yeah, this is Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow. Everyone's at their A game. Everyone's amazing.
Yeah.
The action scenes are amazing. I freaked out when they played the Live and Learn, that song. It was incredible.
I didn't notice, really. I was too busy watching.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, this movie has like these big endgame style, you know, big climactic moments, and I mean, they feel earned.
Yeah.
And they're awesome.
Yeah, it was certainly cool to see Sonic and Shadow team up. I mean, it kind of made sense. It happens in the lore. As far as I know, and you know, it's not something that they could just not do, you know, and it'll be interesting seeing how they do future team ups between the two in the next one if they do, because you know, I want to see Shadow fight Metal Sonic, even if it's more of a kind of an act 2 fight, not really a climax fight, because obviously Sonic has to be the one to fight him in the climax.
Obviously,
if he's the main villain anyway, of the next one. But you know,
well, So speaking of the end credit scene, my theater, by the way, they were like 4 or 5 children. They were quiet the entire time. The rest were all adults, which is great, and the kids were quiet the whole time. They were just sitting there looking at colors.
Yeah.
But the adults and me, we were freaking the fudge out. Like that end credit scene with you know, Metal Sonic and Amy. I mean, I lost my friggin' like these end credit scenes. They're just as good as Marvel. I mean, they're really good. You know, like I want to see how this is gonna, you know, shape out in the future and who's gonna voice Amy.
Yeah. Well, I kind of have. There is somebody I could think could voice her, but I mean, obviously it's up to the directors and everybody. But it would be interesting if maybe Kirsten Dunst voiced her.
Okay.
You know,
I could see that.
get rid of MJ and give her Amy. See,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, give her work.
yeah, with a sledgehammer.
I don't know. Like, yeah, give her, yeah. Do the mocap with the sledgehammer. I think that from what I remember in the shows and the games, Amy has kind of like a cutesy,
Yeah, well,
high pitched voice. So I don't know. I mean, it could work. We'll have to see.
yeah, good. There's also who's someone.
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, I could see her if she can. I don't know. Does Amy have kind of an American voice usually?
Yeah, she's American.
Okay, so Daisy would.
I mean,
just
as
have
American
to,
as a hedgehog could get.
Yeah, Daisy would just have to learn how to do an American accent, I guess. But
Yeah. It's not hard.
no, it's not hard. It's just difficult.
Yeah, I do it all the time. Look at me.
Yeah. But no, I was thinking more what's somebody from MCU that would work? Maybe Elizabeth
Darcy?
Olsen?
Maybe I would say Darcy. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, Darcy. Yeah, she would she might work, I mean. Or I could go with,
Malekith.
yeah.
Wait.
Malekith voices Amy. There we go.
Yeah, Thanos.
But yeah, it was definitely a cool movie. I mean, there were things I was unsure about. Speaking of, how exactly did they reference the Knuckles show just by showing Wade? Because, I mean, he's in the other two movies, too.
Well, yeah, so the reference is when he's doing the hockey on the roof or whatever, and he, scores a goal, or whatever they call it in hockey, and he's like, oh, I win again, or he either says, I win again, or it's my second time winning. That's referencing when he won the bowling tournament.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they don't specifically say that, but...
Yeah, I was expecting something more along the... actually mentioning, Reno. I win just like in Reno. Or...
That would be better.
Or, Knuckles saying, the Master Emerald is with a powerful warrior from Reno. Or, who conquered Reno, or whatever.
I'm just glad they, I'm just glad they paid homage to it, because I mentioned in my review, you look at Cars trilogy, it goes Cars 1, Cars 2, Cars 3, but in Cars 3 they don't even mention 2. So it still happened, but that pisses me off. So I'm glad they did that with Sonic.
Well, there's lots of actually, in the Kung Fu Panda series, I mean, they don't completely mention the previous one, when they go from 2 to 3, they don't mention anything about, the place they were at, obviously 3 has his dad, and 2 has his dad in the end, and that's maybe the only thing, but, they don't really talk about the events of the previous film, even briefly, it's kind of just it's like Indiana Jones. They don't mention in the first trilogy anyway. They don't ever talk about his previous experience. In the Temple of Doom. Obviously, Raiders came before, so Temple of Doom wouldn't have been mentioned anyway. But still, in Last Crusade, it could have said something like, "This is worse than when I fought the Kali," or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, thankfully we have those references in Dial of Destiny and
but Sonic. Huh? What was the
I forgot.
Oh.
I had something. I forgot.
Okay. It came and went just like a Sonic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was certainly it was interesting seeing Wade with the emerald because, I mean, like without seeing the show, you could just assume that Knuckles thought, where would the last place somebody would look for the emerald be? With the dumbest guy we know,
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But
pretty much,
if you've seen the show, you kind of understand better why he would have done that. I mean, if Wade is so dumb, he would have probably done things,
exploded it or something.
Yeah, or used it himself and then just made a bunch of things out of the sky appear.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what he would make exactly, but
something weird.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's in it. He's barely in it, but and Sonic wasn't messing around either at that point. He's like, give me the friggin' emerald, and he's like, I tried,
Yeah. That was, it's interesting seeing Sonic be serious when he really needs to be,
Yeah.
And he's not just, the running around hyper kid,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah. But overall, man, this movie, it was incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
I genuinely loved it. It's probably my third favorite movie of the year. I think it was just very, very well made.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for Sonic 4 or whatever, whatever they choose to do, regardless of it's a show or not. It's going to be cool. I mean, these movies are this whole franchise is really well made. And I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, well, Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves apparently want a Shadow Knuckles spin-off.
I'm down for that, too.
Like,
that'd be cool.
Together, That'd be kind of interesting, seeing how Knuckles deals with Shadow when he doesn't have Sonic and Tails with him.
Well, I mean, first of all, that would be instantly more well-regarded than the original Knuckles show, right? Because everyone who hates Wade, now we're able to just focus on Knuckles and Shadow. That'd be cool. I'm down for that.
But, not to take away the human, importance, if there would be any, because, again, it's not a video game, so don't expect the main character to be on screen at all times, unless you want to play as him in the game,
Pretty much, yeah, you nailed it.
But
now, if you were to do an overall ranking of these three movies in the show, what would it be? I know there isn't like a worst, but if you had to do best to worst, hypothetically.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I would say maybe Sonic 1 as like number 4, and
okay.
Yeah, I mean, even though Knuckles kind of is similar to Sonic 1, it's also longer.
Yeah.
And I find there's just a bit more heart to it, maybe, because, it's a series of Knuckles and Wade, not only of the whole, the whole bowling thing, but, it's Knuckles learning there's more to being on Earth and stuff than just warrioring and, taking out construction guys that are trying to fix your darn house.
Yeah, right.
And caging mailmen to fight your dog.
Yeah.
And
we've all been there, though, right?
Making Maddie mad. Hence her name, I'm assuming. But
yeah, right.
But yeah, I would say maybe it's tied anyway between Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and then Sonic 2 is kind of after that, and then Sonic 1. Also,
okay.
Sonic 1
sure.
Also just because of the length of time, because like Sonic 2 has longer time, but there are some things I will admit they should have at least changed, because, like I said, the way the sisters split up just before the one sister saves the other, like if they changed the dialogue, the lines, it would have made it a little better instead of, her saying, like, I got a fiance to vaporize, and then she screams his name, only to suddenly magically appear to save her sister with that flying boomerang of tails, that Tails
She
made.
used the ring to teleport, obviously.
Yeah, but where do they get the rings? Maybe that's something they should explore. Where do they get all these rings? Because Sonic loses them all the time, and from what we saw in Sonic 3, they used the last one to get at the end to get out of the Eclipse cannon.
I actually don't know. But, hey, maybe they'll explore that in the next movie or something. I don't know. That's interesting.
That would be interesting to see. And
or they'll get Doctor Strange portals now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's how it would go. Probably just Sonic 3 and Knuckles kind of tied, and and then which ironically, Sonic 3 and Knuckles coming out in the same year is kind of a reference call to when the games came out, because apparently Knuckles had to come out separately from Sonic 3 the game back in the day, but it came out in the same year or something, or they came together but they were separate games, I guess, because they couldn't get Knuckles in there or something, so they just made it a separate game. So
well, hey, maybe it's a reference. You never know.
Well, it is. If you search it, you'll see it like on Wikipedia, them talking about it. But
okay, wow, okay, then that's cool.
But yeah, that's probably how I would rate them. Just Sonic 3 and Knuckles and 2 and then 1. But there's no real favorite otherwise. Like they all have their goods and bads. Mostly goods, obviously, and it's not really bad, just sometimes awkward, I guess, because that's one thing is
I'd say that,
when Eggman shows up for the first time in Sonic 3, it was some of the things he was saying just made it a little awkward watching, especially with my...
Why? I forgot.
Huh?
I forget. What did he say?
I'll tell you after. I don't want it on the record.
Okay.
But yeah,
I completely forgot what he said.
Yeah. Well, when it comes out on Blu-ray, you can remind yourself.
Okay. I will. I'll do that. It's my homework.
Pre-orders are already available apparently for Blu-ray.
Ooh.
But there's no date yet, except for December 31st, 2025.
Well, that's the date.
Yeah.
That's the day. It's coming out that day.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? Now we just gotta get there without dying in this coming year.
Yeah.
But
World War III doesn't happen in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But
how would you rate yours?
Ooh. Well, obviously Sonic 3 is number 1. And then it'd probably go Sonic 2. And then... That's tough.
Yeah.
I think Sonic 1 is more focused, and it's more coherent in its narrative than Knuckles. But Knuckles gives you more content, so I don't know. I might have to put Knuckles last, but that's not saying it's bad.
No.
I do love the show. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
But when you're comparing that show to these 3 movies, I think that the movies are better made in their narrative standpoint. But I still think that Knuckles is great. So I think that'd be my order.
Yeah.
Honestly, but
that's fine. It's a tough one when all 4 things are good.
I know, right? It's hard.
Well, I mean, when you have a favorite, obviously your favorite is number 1, but when you don't have a favorite of all 4, then it's harder. So I just kind of have to pick a random order, I guess.
It'll change tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. But I think we're going to be wrapping it up.
Yeah. It's
We
hard.
did more than an hour, but it was fun.
Yeah, it's hard continuing this when we're starting to run out of it. You know.
Yeah, but
like,
no,
what
I mean,
else can we talk about the movie? We've pretty much covered it.
I'm sure I could. Yeah, I'm sure I could BS for another 3 hours, but my PC wouldn't last.
No, especially not after that commercial break that we didn't have.
Right. Yeah, you gotta love it. I had to help my mom with the Sabbat candles or whatever.
No bounty hunters.
No, that. Oh, I see one now.
Okay,
I'm gonna go deal with it.
just throw them against the wall like Knuckles.
Yep, I got my
So.
fists. They're ready to go.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope you folks enjoyed this thing. It was it's nice to have a kind of a one at the end of the year. And our next one will definitely be
Next year.
within the next 365 days.
Yeah.
Sometime
Give or
within
take.
that. But, so any closing remarks?
No, I mean, it was fun. I love talking about this franchise. I can't wait to see what they do next. And leave a comment in the comments what your order is out of the 4 things. If you haven't seen Sonic 3 again, hopefully you're not listening to all this, but unless you just don't care, like my uncle or something, I don't know.
Or
but,
like
yeah,
me
I
for
think that
most
it's-
things?
Right, exactly, yeah. But yeah, tell us your ranking out of the 4, or how many you've seen. You know.
And if you've got any topics you'd like for us to talk about, let us know. If not, I'm sure Recon Trooper can think of something. Again.
Yeah, he always does. I don't know who he is, but he's
Yeah.
thinking of crazy stuff.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so drop a like, comment if you want, subscribe, or unsubscribe and resubscribe if you're not getting notifications from my now Not For Kids channel. And yeah, I hope that our next one we can think of more topics and really get into it. And I hope you enjoy. Also, if you've made it this far, I forgot to say, enjoy my Halo ODST firefight and Black Ops 2 gameplay in the background. And yeah, I guess until next time, later, folks.
Yeah, and Happy New Year. Hopefully we
Yeah.
all have a safe and healthy 2025 with lots more Sonic content.
Yeah, that would be incredible. So,
Yeah.
all right, later,
Again,
folks.
you guys know the drill. Like, subscribe. We appreciate it. And let us know, again, your ranking and what you maybe want us to talk about next time. Give us some ideas. That isn't Recon Trooper, someone new. Preferably anyone. But yeah, I think it'll be fun to do another one of these soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you later.
Yeah, later.